Daf Yomi, Tractate, Bava Metzia, page 28b, top of the page, with the words Asya Lachlufe Berishon. Because perhaps one who hears him will come to confuse it with the first pilgrimage festival. Oh, they were asking, they didn't call out the third one because they might confuse it with the second. So then now they're holding by the question of, so just according to that reasoning, why do you announce the second? Maybe they'll confuse it with the first. I have my own reason why I think it would be. Because Shlishi could sound like Sheni, but Rishon and Sheni sound totally different. I wonder if they're going to say that. They might not. I've seen that. That might be a reason why. But anyway, because perhaps one who hears him will come to confuse it with the first pilgrimage festival. The Gemara answers, confusing the second festival, the first not a problem. In any case, won't the finder come on the third pilgrimage festival, thereby giving the owner opportunity to recover his lost item? Okay. They just say they won't confuse it. Maybe they meant what I was saying. Anyway, okay. Or I meant what they were saying, whatever. The sages taught, initially, anyone who found a lost item would proclaim his fine for 3 pilgrimage festivals and for 7 days after the last of the 3 pilgrimage festivals, so that its owner will go to his home, a trip lasting up to 3 days, and will return to Jerusalem, a trip lasting up to 3 days, and proclaim his loss for 1 day. But from the time that the temple was destroyed, may it be rebuilt speedily in our days. This is like already 1800 years ago. Shibana b'mher b'meina. The sages instituted that those who find lost items shall proclaim their finds in synagogues and study halls. And from the time that the oppressors proliferated, the sages instituted an ordinance that one who finds a lost item shall inform his neighbors and acquaintances, and that will suffice for him. The Gemara asks, what is the meaning of from the time that the oppressors proliferated? The Gemara answers, it is from the time that they say a lost item belongs to the king. The sages were concerned that any public proclamation would result in confiscation of the lost item. The Gemara relates, Rabbi Ami found a vessel full of dinars. A certain Roman saw that he was wary and hesitant to take it. The Roman said to him, go, take it for yourself, as we are not Persians, who say that the lost item belongs to the king. I don't know why the soldier would let this rabbi take it. He would probably knock the rabbi over and take it for himself. I don't get that. Anyway, the sages taught in Braita, there was a claimant's stone in Jerusalem, and anyone who lost an item would be directed there, and anyone who found a lost item would be directed there. Evan Toin. Interesting. Lost and found. The ancient lost and found. This finder would send and proclaim his find, that the owner would stand and provide in its distinguishing marks and take the item. And that is the place about which we learned in the Mishnah in Ta'anit 19a. Go and see if the claimant's stone has been obscured by the rising water. New Mishnah. If a claimant accurately stated what type of item, the lost item that was found by another is, but did not state or describe its distinguishing marks, the finder shall not give it to him. And in the case of a swindler, even though he stated its distinguishing marks, the finder shall not give the lost item to him, as it is stated, and if your brother be not near you, and you know him not, then you shall bring it into your house, and it shall be with you until your brother claims, drosh, it, and you, the word is drosh, which means claim, and you shall return it to him. Deuteronomy 22:2. Looks like this is a little bit repetitive because we had this before. Would it enter your mind that the finder would give it to him before he claims it? How can the finder return it if he does not know the identity of the owner? Rather, the verb derosh is not referring to the claim of the owner. It is referring to the scrutiny performed by the finder. You shall not return the lost item until you scrutinize. Shetidrosh, your brother, to determine whether he, the claimant, is a swindler or whether he is not a swindler. Gemara. It was stated that Rabbi Yehuda said, one who finds an item proclaims that he found a lost item without specifying its nature. And Rav Nachman said he specifies the nature of the item he proclaims he found, he took. Okay. He found and that he took. Okay. He found a cloak. A cloak. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda said, one who finds an item proclaimed that he found a lost item. And if you say that he proclaimed that he found a cloak. Okay, let's start from the Gemara again. It was stated that Rabbi Yehuda said, one who finds an item proclaims that he found a lost item without specifying its nature. And Rav Nachman said he specifies the nature of the item. For example, he proclaimed that he found a cloak. Rabbi Yehuda said, one who finds an item proclaims that he found a lost item, as if you say he proclaims that he found a cloak. We are concerned about the possibility that a swindler may attempt to claim the item. Perhaps the swindler learned that another person lost that item, and he will ascertain its distinguishing marks, provide those distinguishing marks, and claim the item. Rav Nachman said the finder proclaims that he found the cloak, and we are not concerned about the possibility that a swindler may attempt to claim the item. As if so, there is no end of the matter. Even if the finder does not specify the nature of the item, perhaps a swindler would be able to guess its nature. The Gemara cites proof from that which we learned in the Mishnah. If a claimant accurately states what type of item the lost item that was found by another is, but did not state its distinguishing marks, the finder shall not give it to him. Granted, if you say the finder proclaims that he found an unspecified lost item, this Mishnah teaches us that even though the claimant indeed stated that the lost item is a cloak, as long as he did not state its distinguishing marks, we do not return it to him. But if you say that the finder proclaims that he found a cloak, if the finder stated that he found a cloak and the claimant stated that he lost a cloak, does it need to be said that when he did not state its distinguishing marks, we do not return to him? Sofer said, actually, one could say that the finder proclaims that he found a cloak. And the Mishnah is referring to a case where the finder stated that he found a cloak and the claimant stated its distinguishing marks. And what is the meaning of the phrase in the Mishnah, if he did not state its distinguishing marks? It means, if he did not state its clear-cut distinguishing marks, but rather stated distinguishing marks that are not exclusive to the item. Therefore, he does not prove his ownership. I think we'll go to the Mishnah and we'll call it a page. The Mishnah teaches, and in the case of a swindler, even though he stated its distinguishing marks, the finder shall not give the item to him. The sages taught initially anyone who lost an item would provide its distinguishing marks and take it. But when the swindlers proliferated, the sages instituted an ordinance that the finders will say to him, go and bring witnesses who can testify that you are not a swindler, and take your item. The Gemara relates, this is as in that incident involving the father of Papa. Today's Wednesday. Rav Papa is connected with Wednesday according to the laws of his Amr. The father of Papa who lost a donkey and others found it. He came before Rabbah bar Rav Huna to reclaim his donkey. Rabbah bar Rav Huna said to the father of Rav Papa, go and bring witnesses who can testify that you are not a swindler, and you may take your donkey. The father of Rav Papa went and brought witnesses. Rabbah bar Rav Huna said to the witnesses, do you know about him that he is a swindler? The witnesses said yes. Rav Papa's father said incredulously to the witness, am I a swindler? The witness said to him, we were saying that you are not a swindler. They had thought that the question was if he was not a swindler. Therefore, they responded in the affirmative. Rabbah bar Rav Huna said, it is reasonable to conclude that the witnesses actually intended to support Rav Papa's father because Presumably, a person does not bring condemnation upon himself. Rav Papa's father would not have volunteered to provide witnesses who would testify against him. And this will conclude page 1 of 28b.